Welcome to the Spurs News Podcast, your home for all things Spurs. Happy Halloween. Now, let's join our hosts.
Not gonna lie, that's a freaking bop, isn't it?
I love that song. I love that song.
That is every year I forget how good that is. I might just keep the Halloween theme for the whole year round. Anyway, this is the Spurs News Podcast. It is the Halloween special. Also a bit auspicious. It's our 250th episode.
Ooh.
Insert crowd noises here of awesomeness. Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you. I am Sam. Joining me to discuss all things Tottenham Hotspur with a spooky twist, it's Stefan.
Oh, hello.
Oh, hello, dear boy. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, should we do that? Should we be Jeeves and Mortimer for the show today?
We're very posh for the whole Halloween. This is my Halloween costume. Posh.
Yeah. Oh, hello. Oh.
Or as some would call it, the Prawn Sandwich Brigade for Halloween. Yes.
The Prawn Sandwich Brigade. Wasn't that a reference to like Old Trafford? Wasn't that something Alex Ferguson said?
No, it was. I think it was Roy Keane on like a Monday Night Football or something.
It was about Man United fans, wasn't it?
Don't start this.
What are you on about? I was just
like,
you
come on, I'm on a bit of a bubble here. They've sacked their manager. New manager coming in, bit of a bubble. Don't pop it for me.
You brought up the reference. I was simply inquiring, wasn't that related to Man United? Oh, you're so defensive about your team you love.
Go on, rude.
So this is... Oh, see, I told you all. Everyone thought it was a joke. Anyway, part of the Halloween special is we typically do sort of games and silliness, but when we lost to Crystal Palace, my capacity for silliness kind of died, and so I didn't prepare anything. And so this show is going to be very loosely Halloween themey, where basically I'm going to make lots of Halloween references throughout the show, and that's it.
Fair play. We have no ghost or ghoul this year.
Well, it's funny you should say that.
Ghoul or goal, isn't it?
Well, it got a little bit tired. So about 3 years ago, or 4, I can't remember, when we first did the Halloween special, I came up with the game Goal or Ghoul, which was basically, was this the name of is this a real footballer or is it made up? And I did Casper, Spectre, like different people with like ghostly names, Frank, and I made up some like, and you had to say, oh, that's a goal, that's a real player, or it's a ghoul, that's not, and so we did that, and it was funny, but there's only so many of those players exist, and out like getting to like a third or fourth year of trying to do it, it's like I'm definitely repeating, and in essence we now know that everything I'm saying is made up because it's like there are only so many players named these things. So I've retired it for this year. Next year, hopefully, there will be a new generation of players coming through, all with surnames that just lend itself magically to very loose Halloween
something
themes.
That help a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, if someone out there, like you got a kid, he's playing football, he's in the academy, he's about to break through, just hyphen his name for me, like, Jared Smith hyphen Frankenstein. It'd be really helpful. And he'll really stand out. Like, you get that on the back of the shirt, that's going to cost a freaking fortune, but...
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But anyway, you mentioned Ghost.
Frank Instein. Yeah. Ah, that works.
You mentioned Ghost. I actually have a message from a Ghost of Podcast Past, because this is episode 250. Matt of Spurs News fame has recorded us all a message.
Hey everyone, Matt here. Happy Halloween to you all. I bet you think I've risen from the dead. It's been so long since you've heard from me. No, of course I haven't. Or maybe I have. Definitely got a treat yesterday, didn't we, with the Man City game? Definitely unexpected, and getting a home tie in the last 8 is all you can ask for, really. It's 250th episode. It's gone so quick. Probably, I mean, if you want to talk about tricks, you'll probably find an episode a few years back of me saying how much I loved Timo Werner. I think at the time, he was playing for Leipzig, and how I'd love to have him at Spurs. And that's definitely been the trick. Although he did score yesterday, good finish, but we've seen some awful finishing over the last few months with him. But hopefully he'll kick on from this and we'll get a better player. But yeah, hope everyone's doing well. Keep listening to the Spurs News Podcast. Best one there is, best Spurs podcast, best podcast, full stop, out there. And yeah, happy Halloween and yeah, good luck to you all guys.
A lovely message from Matt there.
Good on, Matt. Yeah.
Hoping, got a plan and schedule well in advance, but I'm hoping Matt's going to join us for the Christmas special this year.
Awesome.
Which would be a good laugh. But that's the plan at the moment anyway. So, but yeah, lovely to hear from Matt. I'm sure everyone will appreciate that. Also, just kind of funny, talking about 250th episode, I want to take the, Matt sort of complimented the podcast. I want to just put the statement out there so everyone's aware. We have heard that we are not going to win the Podcast of the Year award, so we'd like to let everyone know we will not be attending the ceremony.
No, I'm throwing my toys out the pram.
Yeah,
not going to turn up.
I just want everyone just to be clear. That's we're not
That's
impressed, and that's the thing. But yeah, this is 250 episodes, which is kind of nuts, really. When me and Matt kicked off, we did kind of like a trial for it, where we were talking through the World Cup.
So
ahead of the
2018,
season.
wasn't it?
Yeah. So that was mad. And then so we literally the sort of peak Pochettino, and then the crash into Jose, into the other one, into Conte, with sprinkles of Ryan Mason in between. A Champions League final, a League Cup final, many semi-finals, Musiala's heartbreak, and it's funny, over the 250 episodes, we've tried to name them all different things, and sometimes like Halloween special is only different because the year is written different, so like Halloween special 2023, 24, Christmas special the same. It is incredible how many episodes we have variation of the word therapy. Like over 250 episodes, I think the one word that comes up the most, other than show, is therapy. So it was clearly a running theme of like, okay, everyone, get together, group hug, we're going to get through this together, it's fine.
Must have been a good, 3 seasons worth, I reckon?
Maybe 4. But yeah.
The end of Poch until last season, pretty much,
Yeah, basically, yeah. It was like a collective, come on everyone, we're going to get through this together. Remember the 90s were worse.
Group hug everyone, come on.
Yeah, so that was like a running theme. So yeah, 250 episodes. Thank you to everyone for listening. There are some people out there who've listened from day one, and it's incredible. And there's other people who have joined us recently and hopefully get the humour of the show. If you don't, just hang around a while, you will, and you'll get involved because we're mad, basically. Now, it is a Halloween special, so we got to start, the whole trick-or-treat thing, and as Matt alluded to, we definitely got dished up a treat. I don't think anything can sum this football club up more, right?
Mm-hmm.
In a week, we had to face bottom of the league, winless Crystal Palace, and also top of the league, not lost a game, Manchester City.
Yeah.
Do you think there's anything that sums Tottenham Hotspur Football Club more than the fact we lost to Crystal Palace and beat Manchester City?
Yeah, that pretty much in a nutshell. That is Tottenham Hotspur. Like I'd like to think if you had to describe Tottenham, this week is the perfect kind of analogy of what it is to be a Tottenham fan.
A real roller coaster of shite. I'll tell you something as well. I saw. I think it might have been my brother, but I can't remember now. I got a WhatsApp from a fellow Tottenham fan. This sounds really bad though. It might have been my brother. I don't know. Someone. Yeah, I love him really.
A Spurs fan somewhere.
Sent me a message saying, "Oh, I think a fun thing on your podcast would be to get everybody, like, rather than asking for questions one week or whatever, get everyone and then read it out for a laugh." To sum up in like try and do a few words, like a sentence if possible. If you were trying to explain to an alien what supporting Tottenham was, like try and in a sentence or two, what is supporting Tottenham Hotspur to you? And I mean, I will always go back to my favourite tweet of all time about supporting Tottenham, which is from an account which is now banned on Twitter called Bankrupt Spurs. There's another account called Solvent Spurs that looks really familiar in case anyone's wondering. you can find that one.
I've seen you interact with them, actually,
Yeah. But Bankrupt Spurs once tweeted, this football club is like the equivalent of getting the best blowjob of your life whilst also getting punched in your nuts at the same time. And I think that works.
Yeah, I can understand that, yeah. I was going to say it's like, getting unlimited candy floss, however, walking on Lego bricks constantly. Yeah.
Well, it depends if you like candy floss, because to me that's just like flavoured cotton wool and it's weird. However, my daughter would fight me on that.
I'll fight you for that one. Candy floss is the best thing ever. But yeah,
my daughter used to get hyper on it, man. You can buy like the tubs of it. She'd like have like the top layer out of the tub and just be like buzzing out of her friggin' skull. It was insane. Which was funny. Go on, eat the tub, love. You're going to your mum's now. Anyway, right. So Crystal Palace. I don't want to dwell on it too much. I want to kind of move on from it because I think it's all of us collectively have seen this so many times that we didn't show up like from minute one to the end. Now the Brighton game, we talked about the second half. We just didn't come out in that second half.
Yeah.
I think
to win and just went through the motions.
So now this is what I want to put to you, because in that second half, I rattled off a kind of they went in 2-0 up. They kind of had the game by the nuts. Could have been 3, could have been 4. And they were all then like, oh, we're off on international duty. And to me, it was like they just completely switched off, which clearly wasn't the message and clearly what was going on. And I think everyone got caught. I think Ange got caught. I think everyone was just like, what the shit? Yeah. Like everyone was like looking at each other like, well, I'm trying. I mean, I need to get on a flight in an hour, and I'm kind of already thinking, shit, did I pack my bag? That's how it felt. It just felt like they were all kind of like, oh, this is done. Whew, right, okay, what's next? And then obviously it wasn't done.
Where's my passport? Oh shit, winger.
Yeah, in essence, yeah. That was literally Destiny Udogie in that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did you come from?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Now, where the hell did he go? So then you go to this Crystal Palace game, and I think what we have to do then is question the mentality of this, which is clearly this is a group of players who are confident in their abilities. I've got no problem with that. And also confident that when they play their game and they play it well, teams can't live with us. If you watch the opening 25 minutes against Manchester City, which was a stronger City side than I thought it was going to be, I'm just going to say, bastards made us work for it.
Yeah, there's no under 18s in there.
There was towards the end, but not to start with, gits. You could have started with the under 9s, Jesus. After Sonny deliberately missed last season, come on, he gave you the title.
Help us out a bit, yeah, crikey.
Yeah, in theory, at the end of the game, there was a nice handshake between the managers. We know what that was. but anyway, Haaland still sat on the bench. I was just here to make it look like we were trying. I ain't going on. What are you on about? Anyway. But in this game, I do think it's a mentality issue that I do think needs to be addressed, and I think Ange is talking about it, which is good. Like, I always hate it when all the fans are going, hello, we can see a problem, and the manager's like, everything's good, but no, really, look, there is this glaring hole.
Yeah, there's 60,000 of us in a stadium all pointing at the same thing here.
Yeah.
You must see it as well, surely.
Please note our fullback is currently off the pitch and no one seems to be noticing. Like, man on is being screamed. So it's a kind of... I'm pleased that. Now, I'm just going to put it to you, like, give you some time to talk on it. I think there is definitely a mentality issue there, which is we're going to win this. Or we are winning this. And they just go into this kind of shell, like this kind of relaxed, oh, it's all right, just play our game, knock it around. And then they are unable, currently anyway, to shake that off. Like, you see some teams, like, it happens, and like, oh, bloody hell, they shake it off and they go and score again. Like, they're 2-0 up, then it goes 2-1, then they make it 3-1 right away. Like, oh, you bastards.
Yeah, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, all right, we need to play again. We don't seem to have that right now, anyway. What's your thoughts on it?
So, I think I put this in our group chat, and you actually came back with a great answer and a great thing that Ange has kind of said about it as well.
Yeah.
Is when things start to turn against us, I worry that we don't have any players on the pitch that have got that kind of leadership of grab you at the scruff of the neck and go, oi, sort it out. Yeah. Like, that was unacceptable. Don't do that again. Yeah. Let's get going. Like, we were talking about, you know, when you think of great captains of clubs, you know, you look at the Roy Keanes, the Patrick Vieiras, the sort of people that would... They could kind of rally an entire squad to get them going. Like, if something was going wrong, they'd all kind of look at this one person. He'd give you the death stare and you'd go, oh, yep, okay. Yeah. Won't do that again. Sorry, boss. Oopsie. Yeah. And I look at our squad at the moment and I'm like, as much as you've got Romero, who will happily go and kidney punch you for scoring, and you've got Vicario, who is... Yeah, Vicario seems to scream at people more than anyone else on the pitch does, to be fair to him.
Yeah.
I don't see anyone that, when Brighton scored that first goal, okay, a bit of shell shock. Oh, okay, you got one back.
Yeah.
Brighton scored a second goal. There was no one on the pitch kind of getting people together go, right, we're better than this.
Yeah.
This should not be happening. We need to sort this crap out. You know, fullbacks, get tighter to the wingers. Defenders, get tighter to the man. Midfield, stop losing the fucking ball.
So here's a question to you on that. So me and you kind of talked a little bit about this, but we're going to bring it to the podcast.
Yeah.
When you are a fan watching a game, it is very difficult to gauge leadership, I think, because you're quite right. Who's the guy on the pitch shouting, like trying to yell? That doesn't necessarily mean great leadership. We can both agree with that. Like, any idiot can be shouting his head off, which doesn't help necessarily. And sometimes, like, people... I remember it wasn't that long ago, people hated Vicario for shouting at one of our young players. So, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean that this is a good thing. Shouting for shouting's sake means nothing. And sometimes a leader can, like you said, someone pointed out to me the other day, like, if I think of a captain that I felt would never allow his team's standards to drop, I think of Roy Keane in your beloved Manchester United side.
Yeah.
And he would not allow the standards to drop around him. But it's kind of interesting. When you think back, I don't remember him screaming at his players, like, doing that. I mean, he might have done it at half-time and stuff. But I do remember him talking to people a lot. And I do remember him, like, if everything had gone flat, he'd nail someone. Like, he would get booked.
Oh, God, yeah.
He would pick a fight. Yeah,
he would one up.
He would do something, like, just to kind of, like, lift the atmosphere, lift everything. And I think that's a game awareness, a big game awareness of a situation of, like, okay, the fans have gone, we need them back, I'm going to go clatter someone they don't like, you know, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to go tell the ref he's a blind fucker, you know, just to fire everybody up, because something needs to happen. And so I think of him, like you rattled off a few, another one which, you know, I hate to say, but it's Tony Adams in that Arsenal side in the early 90s. He kind of led in that kind of similar way of, like, you know, he would just be the example to the whole squad. And also you hear about great leaders, you still see the players that played with them revere them. Like, if you ask anyone from that Arsenal team, Ian Wright, Paul Merson, anyone like that, he's still their captain. Like, I mean, my first Tottenham captain I was really fully aware of was Gary Mabbott. You know, now to me, there will never be a bigger hero. I mean, he's a Bristolian who became captain of Tottenham Hotspur. I mean, this is the dream. This was exactly my icon. So to me, like, he's captain. Whether I could be objective and say, was he the best captain leading things? I don't know, because I can't be. I just can't be there. But I can walk through other captains. Like, Ledley King was the captain of Tottenham, was a pure inspiration. When that guy was fit, he was the best, probably one of the best defenders in the planet.
Oh, definitely,
and just phenomenal. And that kind of inspirational leadership of having Ledley in the team lifted everybody. I remember games like he wasn't there. The player coming in to be okay, and the rest of the team fully fit and stuff, but you did feel like, oh, that's a massive loss. Like, and you could almost see it in the squad, like, oh, Ledley's not playing, shit, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's like a different kind of leadership. Like, he again wasn't a shouter, wasn't like, you didn't see him non-stop, but it was just that when he's there, he's wearing the armband, everyone feels bigger, taller, stronger. And I think Son is like that. I don't think Sonny yells. I don't think Sonny is like some Churchillian speaker.
No,
But I think when he's on the pitch with the armband on, I think the other players feel a bit taller, a bit.
it's like an inspiration, isn't he? Like,
Yeah.
you know, we've spoken before about what he does off the pitch, and like almost like
massive,
the ambassador role with
phenomenal,
the younger players.
Yeah,
Someone goes off in international duty, they get a message or a call from
yeah,
from Son to go, congratulations on the game, or you know, you didn't get many minutes as you want, but don't worry, you're getting fit for when you come back. And I think to have someone like that, and then to follow that person out onto the pitch,
yeah,
that's huge.
yeah. And I think that's where I think people perhaps underestimate it, because I think his impact is to that effect. And I think against Palace, etc., we were flat from minute one. And I think, again, you know, he could possibly do something that would inspire. Kane was a little bit like that. Like, I never saw Kane really as a great captain. I know he's England captain, and that's kind of ironic to say, but I always remember that documentary and it being like, all the players were like, oh yeah, when Kane speaks, everybody listens. And the only thing they captured on that documentary was him being like, let's fucking have him.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, we're gonna fucking kill him. What?
I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what I was expecting. I was kind of expecting a little bit more like, you know, okay, guys, come on, keep it tight early on. We're going to win this. We're going to do this. We're going to play our game. No, none of that. Just like, let's fucking kill them.
It was never going to be we'll meet them on the pitch and we will show them our hearts and let's fucking kill them. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was like a scene from Mike Bassett, England manager, which, by the way, if no one's seen, go find it. It's incredible. You know, England will be playing 4-4-2.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's fucking kill them. Yeah, so I mean, I just think sometimes having certain players there with the armband and stuff lifts you. And I think QT, like, because a lot of the players, I watch the interviews and they all talk about how he talks on the pitch to the players he's playing alongside, like the defenders, and also in the huddle. It's typically QT kind of laying it out like, thou shalt not pass, you know.
Yeah.
And if you watch him, like, a lot of people are being very critical of him this season. And don't get me wrong, there's some you can say, yeah, he's not been the Brighton second half, the Crystal Palace game, everyone was poor. But he's actually been, like, if you look statistically wise and stuff like that, he's up there as one of the best defenders in the world right now. Like, no joke. Like, everything, interceptions, thing. He isn't picking up the bookings like he used to. He's matured in the sense of. Yeah, I know. That was always our thing. It was like, I like him being aggressive, but he has I think perhaps the pace of the Premier League took him a season or two to, like, right, so I can't do that like I was doing in Italy. Okay, right, I'll stand off more. I'll wait. I'll try and time it better. But I think what marks better players from lesser players is the ability to do that. Some people come in the league looking amazing, then look crap and leave and look amazing again. Yeah. He's come in, had to adjust, and has. So I'm quite proud of him for that. So I think the leadership thing, I think you're right. I don't know what the answer is, but like you said, Ange did put out this really great quote, which is, you've got two options when you've got a team we're building, which is you buy that or you make it. And we've gone down the making it route. Now, I know for a fact there's a lot of purple and yellow fans out there who are going to hate that quote. Like, so much. Because it's like, we're never going to buy a recognised player ever again, are we? Like, we're never going to buy some guy who's 28, in his prime, Premier League proven, absolute battle-hardened winner, is never going to be signed by this football club again. And I get it. We'd all love to just kind of go, like, oh, look, there's so-and-so in his prime, 100 million, cha-ching, brilliant. It just isn't us under this model, unfortunately. And I think I'm happier now I've accepted it.
We're more likely to sell the battle-hardened in his peak person.
No, see, now you've made it worse. You've
made it worse.
You've made it worse. So basically what you're saying is we will develop these players to the point they are what we want them to be, and then we're going to sell them.
And then we'll sell them to Madrid, Man City, or,
Yeah, all right, okay. So we'll
as
get...
long as you accept and embrace that.
Oh, no, because I was feeling okay. Now I just realised we're a feeder club, and it just hurts. Oh, us and Ajax just hugging it out right now. Oh.
We've created some of the best talents in the world. Great, and where are they now? Real Madrid, Man City, Bayern Munich. Yeah.
At least they get to win stuff in Holland. I mean, our league's so friggin' impossible. It's like... Anyway, all right, shake that off because that hurts. That's hurt me. Right, we're going to go to the fan questions now because I need a break from that.
Yeah.
That really hurt my brain. Let's hope other people can bring me some pain.
Now it's time for your comments from our social media.
Okay, so to cheer me up, so first of all, I'm going to say all of this is from Facebook. If you have messaged via Instagram, apologies, I will get the message eventually, but Laura's on her honeymoon. She got married last weekend. Congratulations to Laura and Mr. Laura. And she's put like an out of office reply to everybody. So yeah, I mean, she was like, she said to me like, should we get someone else? I was like, nah, don't worry about it, it'll be fine. It's only like 5-6 days or whatever. We just lost the Palace. I was pretty hurt.
We don't need to see those messages.
I was hurting. I was just like, nah, just tell everyone to keep themselves to themselves. But she'll be back regular business next week. I did put this in our group chat, by the way, so you might have already seen it, but it did occur to me very funny. She's married an Aston Villa fan. So they've got married, gone on holiday, and when they get back from their honeymoon, the game is Tottenham Aston Villa. Shortest honeymoon period ever. Yeah. Straight away. Welcome to married life. Here's some bloodshed. First message that came in, by the way.
Those 90 minutes, you're in for a happy marriage.
The first message that came in was from Ben Thierry, who is for you, actually. Oh. It says, I really hope Stefan's doing okay following the news that the club he loves has sacked their manager.
Delighted.
Send him my love, it said. Which I thought was really good. Then the next one is Michael Jasper Annis. Now, Michael... Now, I've read this ahead of time, and I'm just going to put this out here now. Michael, as I just said to Stefan, I'm going to move to the fan comments to see if anyone there can hurt me, and you've done it. Like, straight away. This hurts me so much. It's unbelievable. It says, my question for the podcast is... If... there's two parts, by the way.
Okay.
If Ange said to you both, go on, mate, you give it a go, and all the players were fit, what would be your starting 11 and tactics? Now, he's then done some scenarios. Now, obviously, we don't have enough time to do every scenario.
No.
But what would be your formation? Fully fit Tottenham squad as it is, what would be your formation? I mean, obviously, you're starting Werner. You love the guy.
4-2-3-1.
4-2-3-1. Okay, so who's in goal?
Vicario.
And who's your back four?
Pedro Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, and then Destiny.
Okay, so you're with you and Ange. It's simpatico so far.
Yeah.
So you've now got a 2 sitting in front of the 4. Who are the 2?
Basuma.
Okay.
And Sarboy.
He's a man. Okay. And then, so you said 4-2-3-1. So who's your 3 behind the striker?
Johnson.
Yep.
A toss-up between Maddison and Kulusevski.
Yeah, but you got to pick one.
Let's go form at this moment in time, Maddison. And on the left,
did you just say based? Sorry, did you just say based on current form, you're dropping Decky?
Yeah, Maddison is creating a heck of a lot of chances at the moment.
And Decky isn't.
Decky, this is why it's difficult, because that one position there, like...
Yeah.
I have spent the last couple of seasons watching Kulusevski as a right winger, and now he's been put central, and I'm like, this is a whole brand new player.
When he got 2 assists last night.
Exactly. So,
he's created the most chances of any midfielder in the top 5 European leagues this season.
Has he really?
Yeah.
Wow, okay, so Kulusevski's playing centre midfield.
It's funny how perception is, but yeah, he has. Yeah, he's like leading the way with loads of stats.
Bloody hell, good on him.
Yeah,
I knew he was having a good season.
De Bruyne is injured, just to be clear.
Okay,
which is the stat he normally dominates. So you've gone Johnson, Decky, and...
Mikey Moore.
Ooh, okay, all right. And who's starting up front for you?
Son. Fully fit.
Wow. Okay.
And that was tough, because otherwise it would be Son on the wing and Solanke up front. But
you're all
I'm
about
going Mikey Moore is the man of the moment.
He's one of our own. All right, okay. Now, the bit that hurt me is this one. He says, it's been pointed out that if we win this weekend, and it's got to be clear, if we win, it's against Aston Villa, and only if we win, will we be 1 point better off than when we sacked a certain manager. Now, it definitely feels like we're playing better, but if for example, we don't win, which is infinitely possible, then that... I mean, I've got to do it, haven't I? We don't talk about no. Nuno, yeah, when he got sacked, yeah. So if we beat Villa, we're 1 point better off than when he got sacked. If we draw or we lose, then technically we are worse off than when Nuno got fired.
Jesus. That is... Wow. Okay.
I said that hurts. That really hurts. Michael, that's not cool, pointing that out. I didn't need that negativity in my life.
So now my brain is stuck on a two-way track right now.
Okay.
Part of it is, damn, this season's going worse than I thought it was.
Yeah,
and
it is bad.
The other side of it is, Nuno did better than I thought he did before he got sacked. I'm like,
no.
Where is my brain going right now?
I think the key thing is as stupid as this statement's going to sound, and if someone clips it out of context, I'm going to sound like a moron. Sometimes it's about more than the wins and the points on the board. And what I mean by that, I left the pause, by the way, so if someone wants to clip it and make me out to be a moron, you crack on. But
I've got that written down. What time was it?
Yeah, the exact minute that's there, that one's going out there viral. And what I mean by that is when he came in, the football was terrible, and the atmosphere was terrible. It was toxic. Everybody knew he wasn't going to last. He knew he wasn't going to. His press conferences were just... It was awful. Everything was awful from start to finish.
We are going to make the fans proud of this club again.
No, it was nonsense. It was a nonsense. And the minute he lost that game badly and the fans turned in the stadium, that was the moment. If the fans had been indifferent, we'd lost that game. He'd have carried on. He'd have limped on longer. But the fact is,
took off Lucas Moura and got the chance. And you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, and basically you then had Paratici sat there next to Levy, and they looked at each other and were like, "Yeah, this is bad. Like, we need to act fast and be decisive."
Yeah, I remember there was like a look between the two of them that was pretty much.
Well, they caught it. Yeah, they caught it on TV, and it was like, "Oh, and like I think one of the commentators was like, "Oh, I wonder what they're thinking." Well, the next day we knew what they were thinking. It was go. Yeah. Well, basically, it was like Levy looked at him like, "Go make the call, go make the call." If Conte had come in, let's get him gone, because this is bad. Yeah. And also you got to remember, the senior players at the club had the ear of Levy, had the ear of Paratici, and were saying, this is awful. The training's awful. Tactically, we're awful. He's trying to get us. It doesn't make sense. Like, we are a shambles right now. And that was it. That was the end of him. Under Ange, you've got a squad that is completely together, buying into a philosophy which everyone enjoys watching when it clicks.
Yep.
But there's serious bumps in the road. And he has been all around the world with this philosophy, with this style. And in every league he's been in, it's not been, with the greatest respect to every league, none of them have been to the level of what the Premier League is. The Scottish being as close to it. And his first season in Scotland with Celtic, when he first started, the Celtic fans hated him. Like, they hated him. They this is awful, this doesn't work. Players are getting injured. Like, this is a shambles of a style of football. Like, we're conceding too many goals. I had a great conversation with a Celtic fan online when we basically recruited Ange.
Yeah.
And he said to me, everyone's going to hate him to start with. Everyone's going to make Aussie jokes. He said, everyone's going to be completely... This is nonsense. He said, and you're going to get into it and you're going to get some good results and you're all going to think, wow, okay, maybe this can work. He said, and then it's going to hit the fan and it's going to be awful and everyone's going to doubt him and everyone's going to call it crap. He said, and then at some point, he said he'll build the squad to what he needs and to play his way and they'll all buy into it and you'll fly, and you'll be the most entertained you've ever been watching football, and you said you'll just fly. There are times when I've watched us play under Ange, and I'm just smiling like an idiot. Like the level of football we've played is just like on another level. And then there are times where I'm watching it, just like want to put my fist through a wall. It's just so aggravating.
Yeah.
And so I think back to that conversation a lot, because I think back, he basically laid it out to me of like, this is the process, and Ange said countless times it is a process. So there's calls like out there like, sack him. To me, it's bollocks. Like, Nuno was sacked for a very clear reason. We had no direction. The football was shite. All of it was crap, and we weren't picking up the point. It was no direction. This, you can see a clear direction we're going in.
Yeah.
Like, it is different. Like, even if we don't win at the weekend, and we are worse off than people. I know people are going to make a fuss about it, but to me, it's like it's a very different situation.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't disagree with you. I think I think the stuff that has been happening at Old Trafford at the moment has kind of stopped the media focusing on it. I think with that now kind of dealt with, if we lose to Aston Villa, I think the media will jump on it. Yeah. And I think as fans, we need to let the media jump on it, but stay with the ship sort of thing. As fans, we need to be supporters. Let the media, because we know the media are going to go down that route of, Ange's got 1 point more than Nuno, and, Nuno was sacked and all this sort of thing. We know the media will take that, but we need to, as fans, kind of go, nope, trust the process. Just bump in the road, keep going, it's fine. Yeah. Social
media can be social media. It's the fans in the stadium. Yeah. If the fans in the stadium hadn't turned on Nuno that day, then he would have kept that job. Because you can write online whatever you want. The club that's water off a duck's back.
Yeah.
The only time they've ever really taken any sort of thing was when we were hitting them in the sponsorships. Pay the staff and tagging every sponsor in every tweet. They soon acted then. Weird. Funny. But yeah, so moving on then, we then have one from... so again, this is James Darker says, who's replacing Ange? I want to point out that all of these comments came in after the Crystal Palace loss, but before the Man City game. So who's replacing Ange? James...
obviously Ryan Mason. That's...
Yeah, let's just move past that. I don't even think that's a thing. But Peter Merrison then says, if we sack Ange, we will just keep going round and round in circles. Yeah. We're going to have to be shit before we hopefully get better. I don't think we're shit. I think that we are having some bad performances at times, but there aren't many teams out there that have won, I think it's 7 of their last 9 games.
Yeah, we are definitely... I think you look at the season, we started the season badly. Yeah. But we have now picked it up, which is what's seeing us kind of go up the table a bit more. Recent results, you take out the Crystal Palace one, our recent results, against Brighton was a kind of a bad second half. Apart from that, we had been on a fairly decent run.
1.5 bad games in the last 10, in essence, and that's don't get me wrong. There are games we should have won. The Brighton game we should have won. The Crystal Palace game is one you look at. They beat us 1-0, but they weren't good that day. They won that game through our inability to play football. One thing that I would say is they applied themselves really well. They were aggressive. They pressed well. And we just didn't live with it.
They executed a game plan to perfection on their side, and we let them. Yeah,
exactly. Ryan Miller says, "Why do you think our away record is so bad? What are we getting wrong?"
It's not at our home ground.
Nice, yeah.
That seems to be
I think again, it's an interesting thing because. You can look at it different ways. Now, the style of football we play is fairly open. So you could look at it and go, well, when we go away, perhaps we need to be tighter, more compact to begin with, or perhaps there's something we need to adjust. But one, that's not how we play, mate. But two, it's I'm not entirely convinced that that's it. I just think at the moment, it's like one of those things that's becoming a little bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, I'll give you an example. Currently, we have conceded 1 goal from a corner this season.
Yep.
Now, when I say that to people, they think I'm full of shit, but check it. It's true. Now, every commentator and every pundit would have you believe that we concede from almost every set piece, but we don't. An average game, like a few games in a row, we conceded over 10 corners in every game. We didn't concede a goal. So the fact that we can't defend corners well is kind of a nonsense. It is, yeah. Some teams score from set pieces. But what people always seem to discount is perhaps some teams are really good at set pieces. You can have 5 people on a goal line sometimes. If that guy gets that inch perfect finish to the top corner, it's still going in.
Yeah, so, you ain't jumping that high to header it off the line.
No, so I think often people discount the opposition as like being a factor. Oh, bloody hell, we should have defended that better. Well, yeah, maybe, or perhaps they were just fucking good. Perhaps that set piece was really good. And So I think if you've conceded 1 goal from a corner and you've faced 50, 60, 70 corners so far, that's not an issue. However, if you listen to people online, you listen to the pundit stuff, Tottenham can't defend corners. No. It is a narrative that's there, and it is very quickly becoming this Tottenham team doesn't travel well. I think it isn't an Ange and a system problem because we did fine on the road last season. I think it's a thing that's now got into their heads this season of, it's away, shit, okay, well, now maybe we need to do this, or maybe I need to be a bit more, and I think perhaps they're now second-guessing themselves. So, similar to Timo Werner's finish last night, sometimes you just need one to go in, because he nearly had a second last night, and that kissed the post as it went past off his weaker foot. Yeah. Now, I'm telling you, if he hadn't scored that goal earlier, that guy would have rosetted that, or he wouldn't have even tried it. He'd have probably turned back on himself, hoping someone caught up to it. You know what I mean? He had 3 defenders coming on him, and he still hit a shot that, kissed the post. It was so close. So, it just kind of the confidence thing. So, if we go to Aston Villa and we get a result, which I know is a big if. I don't know if it's home or away, actually. Do you know?
I don't know.
I don't know. Quick, look that up for me.
Yep.
But yeah, our next away game, whether it's at Aston Villa this weekend or another game, is going to be important. We pick up a win.
We are at home. We are at home.
Okay, all right. So
2 o'clock.
Okay, so anyway, our next away game, whenever that is, whoever that is,
Galatasaray on Thursday.
Oh shit! Really?
Yep.
Oh, what a fun place to go. Yeah, excellent. Do you remember when Millwall were in the Europa League and everyone was terrified of Millwall drawing Galatasaray?
Yes.
I genuinely think UEFA would have gone, nope, we're putting everyone back in, we're doing it again.
Changing it around, yeah.
That's not happening. Yeah, nobody likes us. We don't care. We're Galatasaray.
Yeah.
So Ryan, I don't know if I've answered that really. Apologies. It's just I don't think it's as simple as answer as kind of we're shit on the road. I don't think that's there. I think it's just a case of we've had a bad run, and I think it can easily, because I've seen us play as equally bad at home this season. So I just think we're really hit and miss at the moment. Our consistency is awful, and I think that's the problem rather than a home and away thing. I hope that makes sense. Okay, Barry Fowle says, is Ange a bit naive? Palace have one of the smallest pitches, play a low block, give away nightly fouls to get men behind the ball. All of this is known, but we didn't seem to adapt the system accordingly. He goes on.
So this goes straight back to the obvious answer is, how many times does Pep change how Man City play just because they go to a small ground like Brentford or Crystal Palace or Fulham, Yeah. If you believe in your system enough, then it's not naivety, it's confidence.
I agree with you on that, and I also think that I honestly believe if you look at that performance again and you try and detach yourself from the emotion and the anger as a Spurs fan, not easy, by the way, not easy.
No.
But if you were to try and step back and be analytical of it, I think you honestly look at that and go, it's the application, like the way the players were trying to play through the press. Imagine, just for a moment, that they actually did that against Crystal Palace. Palace would have been forked. because they were trying to do that press, and like you said, it's a small ground, everything like that. But if you manage to play through that, or you manage to get around it, or you beat it, then you've got them on toast. And there were 2 or 3 times in that game, sadly, that was all it was, where our finishing let us down. But if, with a team that's that low on confidence, if we'd gone 2-0 up, 3-0 up, that's the game. Like, I know Brighton came back against it, etc., but I genuinely think Palace would have folded because their fans would have got
scored the first goal inside the first 15 minutes.
Yeah,
I agree. Game over. Yeah,
I think you score first. I think all their fans are like, oh, here we go again. And I think their players suddenly drop. All of a sudden, they've got to chase the game. Like, the goals change games massively. And so when they managed to go 1-0 up, they just settled into that system of, like, we're 1-0 up. We don't have to do anything now. And they got chances. Of course they did. Everyone's going to get chances against us. But they didn't have the quality to finish, and they didn't have the belief to finish the game off. And the longer that went, the more you thought, if we could suddenly find our gear, we've got something here. And I think that's where we're struggling. It's like went back to the leadership debate, and I think that's a player's thing. I think, yes, you could possibly say Ange's naive, but he isn't the coach that's going to... He isn't someone who changes per game, per opposition. This is how we play. This is how it will work. It will beat anybody and everybody on the day, but you have to execute it. And the problem is at the moment is when you execute it well, we look incredible. When you don't execute it, we look awful. And there has to be a kind of just the level needs to increase, and or the ability to go, okay, this isn't going as well as we want it to right now, but, you know, we can do something. Like I said in that game, a real simple thing, and this isn't an Ange thing, by the way, this is just the players on the pitch. Stop rolling the ball out every single time. Go kick, go long, go to Solanke a few times, because then they can't set that press up on the edge of our box. Yeah. Because if we're kicking it over the top of them, they then don't know what you're going to do. Like, have our players stood there waiting for the ball to be rolled and then kick it over the top and rush out. Make them not know what we're going to do every restart. And then all of a sudden you're going to find space. And so the players on the pitch don't seem to have the capacity within the system, within all the stuff that they can do. Because they did do that a couple of times, but nowhere near the variety. And you see them do it all the time. So it's within the system to do it. You've got Solanke there who's phenomenal hold-up play. He's a brilliant target player to hit. He really is. He brings the ball down brilliantly. Something I didn't give him credit for before we signed him. Richie can do that as well. So it's like they've got that in them and the ability to do these different things. But on the pitch, like we said about leadership, no one kind of took hold of that situation and went, right, let's do this for 5 minutes. Like, let's get our heads... Just keep the friggin' ball for 5 minutes. Like, we didn't string 3 passes together for, like, a 20-minute period of that game.
Oh, and yet, it was awful. Like, we were giving the ball away too easy, and the kind of stop-start nature that Palace got the game into by giving away all these fouls. Yeah. If we had just gone, right, let's just, keep the ball away from them for a minute. Don't give them the chance to slow the game down with the fouls. No. Let's ping the passes a bit quicker, but... keep it. I will say, just change it a little bit.
I will say, and I do think it's worth pointing out again, a lack of leadership with the referee, because the referee allowed them to kick lumps out of us that entire game. Foul. Yep. Someone did a tot up. One player on the Crystal Palace team committed something like 21 fouls in the game, free kicks. He never got booked. Now, none of them were necessarily nasty, vicious tackles, but surely on the totting up process. Like 21 fouls in the game, 21 free kicks he gave away in the game as a midfielder.
At some point, he never got booked. You would like to think the referee goes, well, that's one too many.
Well, yeah, because...
Or a Tottenham, like you say, a Tottenham player goes up to the ref and goes, hey, are you counting these?
Well, that's exactly right. Like, someone, like, because it's the captain's responsibility to be, sir, like I know, like, this is now, that particular player now has done this constantly to slow the game down. Something needs to be done. Now, it unfortunately, I think with football referees sometimes they just get it in their head, I'm going to let stuff go today. But the thing that aggravates me then is when the team who's getting the lumps kicked out of them suddenly kick back, they're the ones who get booked, like every time. It just drives me nuts. But so I think the players need a greater responsibility in this. I don't think it's naivety on Ange's part to believe in the system. I think the only potential naivety is that he believes in the players that were on the pitch, perhaps a little bit more than he should. I think perhaps he should have maybe gone, for whatever reason you're not doing it, and turned around and fired a few people up and brought them on to try and inspire it. And it just, don't get me wrong, it sounds bad, but he believes in that squad he's got. He believes in the players that they can turn it around. And a couple of times down, they've really let him down.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's where the squad depth, I guess, over the next couple of transfer windows is going to be really important, so that he can turn around, look at the bench and go, right, you're not doing it, you're going to. On you go.
Well, I do think we have that. Like, they're only Man City are going to have 2 first teams.
That's very true.
Yeah. But you look at our squad depth now in terms of players who can come on. Like, you got Solanke starting, Richie on the bench, or vice versa. That's brilliant options. Mikey Moore has proven that he is a good wide option, and so yeah, I do think it's there. I know we got a couple of injuries like Sonny and now Van der Ven, sadly, but
crikey, after yesterday's game, it sounded like people were going off every 5 minutes.
That was worrying. Actually,
that was a real. The last 20 minutes of that game just seemed to be like, this player's gone down, this player's gone down, this player. I was like, oh my gosh.
Right, on to the next one. Thanks, we got a few. Tom Perk says, I don't like all the who should we sign questions throughout the season, but do you both think we need to bring in a couple of 28, 30-year-olds in January with a bit of experience? That's kind of funny because that kind of... I personally would always like to sign a player who's in his prime, pay the money to get the quality. Yeah. However, I have accepted, like I said earlier on, that we're not going to do that. I've kind of accepted that we as a club are looking to create those players. Unfortunately, Stefan's then pointed out we'll then sell them, which broke my heart.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will always live on the hope of seeing Jack Grealish in a Spurs shirt, just because I think what he does in the ball is brilliant. But I don't see it happening. I don't see us going out and spending the big money for someone in prime.
You wouldn't sign for us.
Yeah.
No, you know, anyone who's got any sort of knowledge out there, and there's plenty of information out there for how much we messed him around.
Oh yes.
I'd never signed. Even if I was a Tottenham fan and my club dicked me around that much, I'd be telling him to jog on. Unless we got a new owner, of course, which you never know. Oh look, a flying pig. Okay, so Richard Oliveira Viant, best name ever, says we need a proper striker. Also, why do players come out of a lot of games like they are half asleep? It's like he sends out sleepy, dopey and dozy for second half. Sometimes we also get angry. Also, we send angry out too when Romero comes out making rash challenges rather than being asleep. Richard, I think you've written this in anger. There's no real question there, so we're just going to move on. But I've read it out for you. Hope you feel better. Mark Evans says, do you think the Maddison of the start of last season will ever show up in a Spurs shirt again? I love how perception is on that. So, Mark, would you be surprised if I told you that statistically wise, he has created more at the start of this season than he did prior to his injury last season? He's also covered more ground. He's made more passes successfully. Generally, his metrics for his position and what he does, the one metric he hasn't equaled is assists. And I will always say, like, when you look at data and stuff for players, an assist is a horrible one because you can make 20 key passes, and if you're making... This is going to sound so rude.
You're passing to Werner every time. You're not.
Okay, you said it. You said it. You're sorry. It's like if James Maddison puts 20 through balls to Werner and he doesn't get one assist, is Maddison a bad player?
Yeah.
No.
It's
if Maddison lays those...
Which is how the squad are now looking at it. They're now looking at this more data-driven, so which is good.
Yeah. No, but it is funny, though, perception-wise, because he was getting the assists and the accolades and the kind of doing the dart celebration, and he scored a couple as well. There is a kind of thing of he was much better at the start before under his injury, and when he came back from the injury, he really struggled. So I think that kind of is like an ingrained thing. The one thing that's curious for me about James Maddison, I want to throw this out there. Anyone message in with your thoughts on it? Why does he never finish a game?
He has become.
I'm sure he must. Yeah, I'm sure he must. But in my head, he is always subbed, and I'm like, now I'm watching it every game. If Maddison's on, I'm like, okay, will he finish the game? It's now a thing. It's now like
he even started as a captain in the Europa League and still went off.
Yeah. So everyone, pay attention to this now and send me your theories. The madder and more conspiracy riddled, the better, because I love it. Chris Valdi says, why can't we allow time for a manager to develop with the club? This is a step up for Ange. Everyone knows this. He will make mistakes. Why not just rally around him and show support as we would do with a developing player? There is no perfect manager for us who will come in and magically win us a trophy with minimal time and no mistakes made. I think Chris is correct. I don't think I need to add anything to that statement.
No, that's all good.
Carla Moon simply asks, why can't we defend? We can. We just sometimes choose not to.
It's not about why can't we, it's why don't we.
Yeah, it's like, why don't we all the time is actually the better question, I think, Carla. But yeah, it is. Again, I want to point out those questions came in post Crystal Palace, but pre-Man City. So there was probably a lot of pent-up anger in amongst everybody there, which I get, I completely get. But speaking of the Man City game, then prior to kickoff, genuinely now, don't just say this because how were you feeling about how the game was going to go?
Well, as you know, before kickoff, I actually looked at the betting sites to see what odds I could get on Jack Grealish goal or assist, and things like that. Like, I was genuinely looking at, they're going to put a second 11 out, which is going to be better than probably about 15 teams in the Premiership.
Agreed.
And I was really quite nervous. There was this part of me was like, we always do well against Man City. Like, we do seem to become like a bit of a bogey team for them.
Again, another true thing about Tottenham Hotspur is how in the hell could Manchester City are probably the best team on the planet over the last few years, consistently. Yeah. How is it that we're their bogey team? And we are. Like, you ask Man City fans, like, we draw them in a cup. Man City fans are like, oh, for fuck's sake, like, you're kidding me.
Yeah, give us a Manchester derby, don't give us Spurs.
Yeah, that cracks me up. Like, they would rather draw Arsenal at the Emirates than us. And that's hilarious to me.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I'd have good. I mean, Man City fans in general, I mean, they're just so freaking happy. So they're generally quite a good laugh online, and I had quite a good few conversations with them like after the result last night, which was just like, obviously for us, it's not the end of the world, like the League Cup. But as soon as we drew you lot, it was like, oh, you're kidding me. It's like, really?
I just love that.
You really felt that way? I was like, yeah. You he said when Sonny was out, we all thought we were okay though, because he's right. Like, Sonny does score against Man City. But yeah, that was kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, I 100%, I hold my hands up, didn't see us winning the game at all. My fear was not so much about us losing or losing badly to Manchester City because they are so good. It was them fielding a very, very weakened team, us fielding a very, very strong team, and them winning by any margin, and the pain that would be, the mockery, and also the hammering to the team's confidence that would take from that.
The under-18s 3, Tottenham 1. Yeah, that would not have gone down
like
well.
Literally, yeah. Now,
anyone.
as it turns out, it was kind of a mix and match side. They got a lot of injuries at the moment, and they did field some youngsters in amongst it. But it was stronger than I thought it was going to be. Agreed. Obviously, not as strong. And we mixed a little bit, which caught me by surprise. And probably my biggest surprise, and somewhere where I'm going to go against the grain here from me and really be quite critical of Ange over, is we started Mickey van der Ven at left back with both Ben Davies and Destiny Udogie on the bench. Now, you've got a player who is very, very important to our team in the way we play due to his pace, who has had a hamstring issue and a few muscle problems, and then you play him as a fullback in a system where he's going to be like on it constantly, and lo and behold, he's picked up an hamstring injury. So, I mean, he left the pitch basically in tears.
He knew that wasn't a good injury. Like, you could tell.
Yeah.
That is very worrying. To see a player go off the pitch with that sort of reaction, you're
worried. Yeah, you're worried because he's He's had a hamstring problem not that long ago, so you've probably got it in your head. He's feeling shit. It's gone again, or something. I mean, my hope is that he's he's overreacted. He's kind of, oh my God, not this again. And when they do the scan, it's like, don't worry, it's not as bad. It's going to be this. That's my hope.
Yeah.
Because I would get that. Like, if you've had a bad injury and you feel like that's gone again, you're going to be distraught, aren't you? So
definitely.
I am
definitely. He did seem to walk off the pitch easier than he did the last time it went.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Fingers crossed, but like you say, with Ange, like that seemed a real strange kind of. Why would you put Mickey at left back? It's a position he's already come out and said he does not like left back. It's too much running for him. He relies on his pace, so the quick bursts of pace when needed. He doesn't like left back.
Yeah.
We had. I don't know what's happening with Spence at the moment, why he can't get a minute.
He's injured. He's injured.
He's injured again.
He's been injured for a while, yeah.
But we have, like you say, Davis was on the bench. If you're going to rotate it, pop Davis there. Like, I don't see why you played Mickey there. And obviously it's now backfired. We'll find out how bad in a couple of days.
Yeah. It's backfired terribly, so yeah, I do. But we did win the game, which is mad to me. So, we won the game, and so we played well. I think the opening 20-25 minutes of that game, we were very much on top, and then Man City just took over the game. Which the thing that I think is where it's interesting is they took over the game, but at the start of the second half, we had two opportunities that should have been goals. I'm going to say they were so good a chance.
Yeah.
They should have been. We had a few other chances which were, opportunities and, were close or whatever. But there were two opportunities, one for Decky and one for someone else, or I can't remember, should have been goals.
Richarlison on their throwing.
Spot on, yeah. We should have scored 4 goals last night against Manchester City, which is no mean feat, regardless of who's playing for them.
And if Kulusevski had lifted his head up, he would have put the ball across the box and two players would have just tapped it in and gone, thank you very much.
Yeah, potentially. So, but I mean, from that angle, he should have scored as well. You look at that angle he was at, when he opened his body, I would back him to score in that position.
Agreed.
But he didn't. Now, so you look at that and you say, okay, so they dominated, and they really got on top of us, but when we played through them, we actually opened them up, which is similar to all of the complaints we have against us, which kind of made me smile. Man City were all about going at us, and they could have easily lost that game last night 4-1. And no one would have slagged them off for it and called Pep naive. But our finishing wasn't up to snuff, and therefore the game finished 2-1. Still we won, which is great.
Yeah, and one of the things that made me laugh was I saw a lot of stuff a bit in the press and a lot online about how Pep put out a real young, youthful-looking Man City squad.
Yeah.
Average age 3 years older than our starting 11.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, there's a narrative here somewhere, I think.
Jamie Redknapp shouldn't be a pundit. I'm going to say that. I'm going to say this nicely. He is a pundit because his dad was Harry Redknapp, and Harry Redknapp was a good manager. Jamie was a good player who became an average player who is a shit pundit. And I'm going to say this now because he pushed that narrative last night. But also he said, there's levels. Pep Guardiola knows this isn't important to him. That's why he didn't bring on Haaland and he made the changes he did bringing on young players. In this game, Ange took off Romero because Romero was a bit tired. Not because he was just like, I'm not taking a risk for the weekend.
Yep.
So if we'd lost that game, I can tell you now, Spurs fans will be pointing to that going, that shows our priorities. Don't win a cup, just try and win league games. Money, that's where our priority is. I could hear it. I could imagine it as it happened.
Yeah.
But we won the game. So how is that any different to what Pep was doing? It wasn't. There was no difference between the way the managers were approaching, and the average age of the Tottenham side was, like you said, 2-3 years younger than the average age of the Man City side. So it was bollocks. And he just talked it, and it just aggravates me.
One of the differences is that, they say about the mains, like the average age. The Tottenham average age, even with a full strength squad, is still going to be probably under. Well, it's got to be under 25. Realistically, the only people I can think of that are over that is Son and Bissouma.
Vicario.
Oh, Vicario. How old is Vicario?
Yeah, 28.
Yeah. So apart from that, the rest of our squad is like early 20s.
Yeah, I think Cute is now 26. I don't know. It's, whatever it is, we have changed it dramatically. Yeah. We have dropped the age dramatically, and so we did win the game. I'm delighted we won, and we've now gone through. Now, the draw for the next round happened last night. It's the quarter-final draw, and we've been drawn at home again, which I'm delighted because I always think that gives us our best chance.
I agree, yeah.
But we're going to be playing again. I mean, how do you feel about this, man? We draw Manchester United.
Oh, mate, torn. Absolutely no. I think it's difficult. A home tie is always a good tie. You know, with the stadium behind us and everything else, I will back us to give anyone a good fight.
Yeah.
United are going to have a new manager in. We don't know how they're going to play yet. We don't know kind of if he's going to bring his 3-4-3 formation, in which case that's not something they're used to.
You know a lot about Man United.
He might take a whole new formation and tactic to match the players they've got. So we have no idea what if they still had Erik ten Hag at the helm. You'd be kind of looking at it going, we've got a really, really good chance here because they're not performing. With a new manager, you don't know quite what you're going to get. But with it being a home tie, you got to back us. Do you want
to know what's kind of funny? And this is funny because my mind works slightly different than people, and I know it does. I feel more confident now than I would with Ten Hag in charge because he's done so well for them in the cups. He's won a cup a season. He won the League Cup, then the FA Cup.
That is true. Yeah,
he turned
minus European. Yeah, he was a good cup manager.
Yeah, one-off cup manager, domestic cup manager. He was doing really, really well.
Yeah.
So I genuinely, and because we've got this thing in our brains of we beat Man United last time, we'll walk this. We probably wouldn't show up. Whereas now they got a new manager, new banks or whatever. I think possibly won't understand the English, like, I've got all these fixtures. What's this League Cup nonsense?
Yeah.
So you never know. Okay, so that is the next round. Our next game, like we discussed earlier on, is Aston Villa. Big game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Do not get that wrong again. We've been doing predictions. Everyone has asked me to stop us doing predictions. Apparently, we're upsetting people. So we're not going to do predictions anymore. My joke apparently has annoyed people, so we're going to drop it. I thought it was funny, but yeah, spookily good. So what we're going to do instead is we're just going to discuss, okay, what exactly do you think, where's your head at with Aston Villa? Because they're a bloody good side who have had a little bit of a stumble. I think the stumble is purely down to this sheer amount of games, because I think they're managing Europe for the first time. We know what that was like and how it is a very different thing. But I think playing us, I think they're going to be up for it, and I think they're going to want to win this game. Where are you at? Are you feeling confident? Are you feeling nervous?
I'll be honest with you, Villa make me a little nervous. I mean, they're top of the Champions League table thing, new format, with 3 wins. They beat Bayern Munich 1-0. They've had some good results this season. They had a little stumble last night, losing to Palace. Yeah. Made me a little bit happier.
All the best teams lose to Crystal Palace.
Does appear that does seem to be the way, doesn't it? But it's a 2:00 Sunday kickoff. It's I would like, again, it's at home, so you back us to win every game at home. With the crowd behind us, knowing our pitch.
Yeah, we're not making predictions. We're not making predictions. People get upset. We're not allowed to make predictions anymore.
No, I'm not predicting. I'm just saying I would back us to do well. But Villa are a very, very good team with a very good manager playing very well together.
So what we've said is we could win, we might lose, and also there's a chance it could be a draw. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think we've summed that up brilliantly. Yeah, I agree. You can look forward to that level of insight for every game from now on because predictions are upsetting people. So we're now going to predict either a win, a loss, or a draw.
Yeah.
And if a game ever gets postponed, people can have a go at us. Oh my god, you didn't even think that. Ugh.
Postponed waterlogged pitch. Well, I didn't see that coming. Yeah.
No, I gotta be honest. No, that would surprise me. So, a massive thank you to everybody for listening. This was episode 250 of our show. Also, the Halloween special. There wasn't really a lot of Halloween stuff. I feel kind of bad. I feel like we should have done a game of some sort.
Oh, come on. Tottenham tricked and treated us in 1 week.
Nice one. Thanks, man. Thank you. I think Matt said that as well. So, yeah, good. Yeah. Well done. We'll leave it there. Big thank you to everybody for listening. We'll be back next week to discuss all things Tottenham Hotspur. Until then, everybody, you all take care.
Come on, you Spurs.
Thank you for listening to the Spurs News Podcast. Until next time, be safe out there, my little pretties. Come on, Spurs.